The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
It's not too late to turn the Jet season around, but what do they have to do to actually do it? We'll talk about that and much more with Will Parkinson in his weekly spot on the show. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started.
Man, our Jets are primed for a historic season.
Joe, I am not messing with you with what I'm about to say. Adam Schefter is reporting the Jets have just fired Robert Saleh.
Wow! We bleed Jets green each and every day. This is not the same old Jet. We have Aaron freaking Rodgers. We have Garrett Wilson. Let's go. We have Breece Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinnen Williams. The Jet bandwagon is loaded. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show.
We have a watch party this Sunday night for Jets and the Steelers. This Sunday night at T-Squared Social, we'll have drink specials, food specials, giveaways, and much more. Plus, if the Mets and Dodgers are playing a Game 6 that night, it will be on a bunch of the TVs so you can watch both the Jets and the Mets at the same exact time. RSVP if you're coming out to join us with the link I have in the description. Joining us right now in his weekly spot on the show, a few days later than normal because of the Jets playing on Monday, is the great Will Parkinson of the Turn on the Jets podcast, the All 32 podcast, and of course, the Badlands Patreon network. I don't know what you guys call yourself these days. You're on YouTube, there's audio, but you do a lot of Jet content and you join the show. Hello, Will.
Yeah, hello. I don't know what to call it either. I don't know. I don't even know who I am. It's a kind of it's an exciting couple 10-day stretch here, I guess, right? Thursday, so 10-day stretch. The Jets season can go from, oh my God, we're 2-4 and people tweeting at me to stop being optimistic, to we're 4-4 and we're playing on prime time again, and Davante is fully integrated and all these different things. So pretty big two game stretch here. At a minimum, you have to win one, but really you need to win both these games and get your season right back on track.
This game on Sunday, I don't think it's hyperbole to say this feels like the season, right? Not saying that, it's automatic they're done at 2-5, but come on now. If you're 2-5, we would have no evidence this team is capable of going on a run to get into the playoffs. So it just feels like, Will, this season could come down to, do they show up and find a way to get a tough road win on Sunday Night Football?
Yeah, look, I think you look back. What were the Packers? They were 2-2, 3-2. They
were 2-5 last year.
2-5. No. I'm talking when the year that Rodgers last year. What were they? 3-5 or 3-6? 3-6. They won. So he's been here before. I think they rattled off 5 in a row, 5 out of 6, and then they end up losing. Obviously, the Sunday Night Football last game in Green Bay for Rodgers. But yeah, no. Look, I think any fan looked at the 2-game stretch of Buffalo at home, Pittsburgh on the road, back-to-back prime time as, can you split those? I think optimistically you thought you could beat both, but obviously could you split those two? The Jets probably dropped the easier in terms of, it's at home, it's Buffalo. Buffalo is a significantly better team than Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is frankly not good at all. They're very Jetsy in 2022. Where
fake good.
Yeah, where it's you're like, oh man, our record says we're good, but everything else I see looks like we suck. So, yeah, look, Jake, I just think this is one of those matchups where, the Jets dropped. They've obviously dropped 3 in a row. 2 of them, I think, going into the year, if you did your, the win, loss, win game, they would have probably won 2 of those 3. I think you probably would have had, in some fashion. It doesn't matter. The Jets now have to probably at some point the rest of the year. It can go the same as anyone predicted early on, but they need to win probably 2 games they weren't supposed to. Is that beating Houston at home, which people had kind of penciled as a loss? Is it beating Pittsburgh on the road? Is it going up to Buffalo or going down to Miami and stealing a division game that, instead of – so I don't think – again, I'm not trying to sell fool's gold here. Like 2-4 is not ideal, and losing by, 3 straight one-score last drive of the game type of moment sucks. Like it hurts way worse. That said, Jake, if you look at just some things that I guess are kind of representative of future trends, the kicking thing we'll get to, I'm sure that's a wholly different ballgame. I don't think anyone knows what a kicker is going to do, let alone the kicker. They're still have a positive point differential. They're outscoring teams. They're outgaining teams. Like it's very weird that a team, 6 weeks into the season, where you're looking at them and going, like, how are you not better? I guess is the best way I could phrase it, Jake. If you just look at simple things, right? Like I'm not looking, these aren't deep analytics. More points per game, more total points, more total touchdowns by 3, more first downs they've on offense versus what they've given up. Double the amount of passing first downs they have versus the teams they've been playing. They're better on third down. They're not better on fourth down because they've only gone for it 3 times, but like they've passed for 10 touchdowns. The opponents have passed for 4. Like I'm just saying, if you look at it, they've run more offensive plays, more yards per game, more total yards. My point being, a kick here, a kick there, we're having a different conversation. And again,
they just had one more win right now. It's a totally different vibe around the team.
I get it. Like they're finding ways to lose as opposed to finding ways to win. And that's super frustrating. My point being is like, usually these things even out, and the Jets may get a break now against, I don't know, maybe they get a break on a call in Pittsburgh this week, or they get a break against Houston, or I don't know, they're playing the Rams at home, which looked like a really tough game, but the way the Rams injuries have been, like that game might not be a tough game. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that I keep looking at this thing going, how do they get it right? Getting an all-pro guy, potentially getting a second all-pro guy, at some point here, who knows what's going to happen with Reddick, right? But like, I don't know. I feel better about them probably going into this week than I have in a couple weeks because they have Davante and because the offensive coordinator doesn't look to be a problem, right, Jake? Like some of the issues, receiver talent and skill talent overall, the offensive coordinator and Rodgers looking much more like Rodgers. We also saw that last week. I think those are some things you have to lean on over these next 2 to 3.
If you want to be positive, now that we're at Thursday, I could try and be more positive than I certainly was the first couple of days this week. The positives are, if you've had Davante this whole season, you probably have either 1 or 2 more wins right now, just based on his wealth of knowledge of knowing where to be when Aaron Rodgers throws in the football alone. If you really want to be even further positive, you're a couple kicks away from having 2 more wins right now. So this team has been in every game besides the opener. Their record is a lot better than 2-4. So it's all right in front of them. And you're right about the offensive coordinator change. I'm not saying Todd Downing is Sean McVay.
All right, Aaron Boone. It's right in front of us.
Let's go, baby. I'm not saying Todd Downing is, Sean McVay or, Kyle Shanahan or Kevin Stefanski, whoever you want to bring up. But if he's competent with these weapons and he can get the ball in space to Brees, get the ball in space to Garrett, utilize Davante now, which Aaron certainly can, this offense should be able to score 23, 24 points a game. And even with the issues this defense has with the run game and the personnel not being as good as it's been because of a variety of things, that should be enough to win a lot of games with their schedule, which, according to Michael Nadia, Jets have the easiest schedule based on DVOA remaining in the NFL down the stretch here. So it's all right. To quote Aaron Boone, your guy, it's all right in front of them.
Yeah, I've never wanted someone to like win the team to win the World Series more, but their manager get fired, which obviously we know he's going to get a 25-year extension for kissing Hal's ass. But like, look, I think there are certainly concerns with this team, right? Like I don't think anyone's saying there's not. The run defense is a problem. The injury bug on defense is a problem. The kicking game, bigger than probably any other issue, is a problem.
Correct. Zerline's kicking for his job on Sunday night.
He should be. I mean, it's another awful Joe Douglas contract if you really look at it. Like they'd be paying him for 2 more years, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, at some point you're gonna have to just eat the money, right? Like, yeah, I just keep looking at this thing, Jake, and going, they fixed their biggest issue on offense, which was guys that get open against man coverage. They faced the second most man coverage in the NFL. They now are a team that I'm not sure you can play man coverage against, frankly. I don't know if you want to, and teams will. I'm sure Pittsburgh will try it at some point on Sunday night. I personally wouldn't play this team in man coverage because Aaron Rodgers is smart enough and good enough to get the ball where it needs to be. And Davante Adams is going, as recently as last year, made Patrick Surtain look quite horrible. This is not a guy who is some bad player all of a sudden. And people are, he's not that fast. Davante's never been fast, by the way. He ran a 4.5, 6, if I'm not mistaken. And coming out, he's never been a speed guy. He's got the best route running and feet in the NFL, in the connection with Rodgers, right? Garrett Wilson's not going to be facing 2s and 3s. Alan Lazard, who I think we all prefer probably to see less of, even though he had a nice week last week, is going to be facing your worst secondary player, whoever that may be, and he should have a size advantage specifically over that person. So if Downing is going to use somewhat similar amount of motion that he used on Monday night, believe it was about 72.3 or 72.5%, up from 47%. That's a huge jump, Jake. I thought the scripts between the 20s were better. Yeah, the red zone stuff for sure, but they did get creative on stuff. They did, Garrett's got to catch the football. Tyron Smith's got to not hold.
Brees got to catch the football on that opening drive.
Brees has got to catch the football. Brees has got to make a guy miss. That is bad, I know, dude. He played. We talked about it for weeks now. He just doesn't look confident when he cuts. I don't know what's going on there. I'm not sure if it's still he had that contusion in his quad from the Tennessee game. I'm not sure if that's still hampering him. I don't know what it is, but he looked so much more explosive in terms of straight line speed last week, but still didn't have that 1-2 that he normally has in his bag. The Braylon Allen play was a really nice creative move. I thought we saw a lot on Monday to be optimistic about. The run defense is they just have depleted this defensive line so much over the last, since May. Not only did they lose their best pass rusher in Huff, obviously, and again, we don't have to rehash that. They lost JFM, who was their best edge run defender. They lost over the last couple of years Quentin Jefferson, Al Wood, Sheldon Rankins, other guys that were damn good. And CJ Mosley not being in the run game, it does hurt you. And, they're going to have to find, whether it's the trade market, it's a guy who gets cut, maybe it is a Quentin Jefferson. I don't know. Even though he's not amazing against the run, but at least he pursues upfield quicker. Quinn's not having a great last couple of weeks, to be honest with you. I thought the New England game, he was good and then kind of has been quiet. So
he even said today he needs to be better, which I like hearing from.
Quinn's always super accountable. He is who he is. And again, I think they can add pieces here, whether it's flipping Mike Williams for a pick and using that pick on a defensive tackle, whether it's, going out and getting his Reddick done. At some point, this team has a chance to basically, over the next 2 weeks, essentially 3 weeks, really, if you include week 8 or week 9, whatever that is, have a chance to acquire 2 All-Pros in Reddick and Adams and potentially add depth at the defensive line spot. And I think they still upgraded a coach, all the way to a team where their schedule is getting easier. So maybe it's a reverse of 2022. Hey, we started out hot record-wise, but the end of the schedule actually ended up being way harder than we thought, and the team faltered. Maybe it's the opposite this year. Again, I don't think that's being overly optimistic. The Jets went from 1.5-point underdogs on Tuesday morning to now 2.5-point favorites at Pittsburgh. That does matter. That means people are something's kind of happening here. They're going to be heavy favorites against New England. They're going to come home into a Houston team that's banged up without Nico Collins, and the Jets probably played Stroud better than anybody in the entire league did last year. So my point being, Jake, they could go out there and flop on Sunday night, and they would be in must-win territory for a month straight. Maybe. But they also could go out there and look good on Sunday night, carried over to New England, and we're having a very different conversation on this show in 2 weeks going 4-4 Jets. Hey, the Bills have some tough games coming up. Do the Bills drop one more and all of a sudden, hey, now maybe you have to atone for the demons in Pittsburgh of 2010. You got to atone for the demons in Buffalo of 15. I don't know. Maybe that's what happens. I don't know exactly, but Jake, but at the end of the day, I do think you could feel the jolt I think Woody was hoping for in firing Saleh. I almost feel like you got from Davante getting traded. Rodgers talked about it on McAfee. It was this gives every single guy in that locker room dude, we're not just talking about it, we're being about it. We went out and traded for a top 6, top 7 receiver in the NFL. I know you guys struggled. Now you got to go win. The pressure's on. So I feel optimistic, honestly, at this point.
Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. If you're one of the 350 people watching live right now, thanks for being a part of the show. We're talking with Will Parkinson in his weekly spot. Check out his Jets podcast, Turn on the Jets. You can also hear Will, part of the Badlands Podcast Network over on Patreon. When it comes to this game specifically, Will, how many points do you think it's going to take to win, right? I mean, there's a lot of talk with Pittsburgh maybe going to Russell Wilson at quarterback, which I don't know how you feel about that, but I
huge W.
would much prefer to face Russell Wilson than Justin Fields, who's leading the NFL in rushing touchdowns at the quarterback spot, which is obviously a weakness of this defense right now. So when you look at this matchup, how many points do the Jets need to score? Because even with some of the concerns of TJ Watt wrecking the game, like the Jets just might have enough firepower to get the 20 points. And I think that might be enough, but your thoughts on just the point total on this matchup overall?
Yeah, I think the matchup overall is going to come down to, can you not let TJ Watt ruin the game? I think that's one part of it. I think, you saw kind of the recipe. Dallas is not a good football team at all. I mean, frankly, they're pretty horrible. Dak turned the football over a bunch. They didn't run it great. CD didn't even have a CD Lamb game. They still put up 20 in Pittsburgh, and I felt like they were never going to lose that football game. Fields is a guy who I frankly, the Jets dodge a bullet in terms of Fields is just not a good processor at this point in his career, and he never really has been, and he'll miss a bunch of stuff. That said, the talent is much better than Russell Wilson. He runs the ball and buys a ton of time for a team that doesn't get after the passer great, and obviously can use his legs. I'm sure we'll see some of Fields on Sunday night. I feel good about it, even though the Jets are down some corners. I'd like to see Sauce and Pickens probably just go at it and say, like, beat us elsewhere. I'm not – Najee Harris is not a good – he's just not a great football player. The Steelers' offensive line is horrendous, and they're all
How's Roger Jones doing, Will?
Yeah, well, he doesn't have 7 sacks, even though Will McDonald sacks. A couple of them have been a little fluky, but it's fine. We no one cares when we look back at his football reference page in 10 years. It's going to come down to do not let TJ Watt wreck the game, whether it's chipping him every play. The Jets have done a decent job, actually, on the more premier guys. It's been the other guys that have gotten free, in some of these games. Obviously, if Nick Bosa didn't wreck the game in San Francisco, they let Fred Warner wreck the game, and you can't do that. So, Jake, I just feel like Russ is scared to get hit at this point in his career, and I don't blame him. He's taken 20 years almost of punishment, right? He just has.
He could be rusty too in his first game.
He's going to be rusty. The Jets have gotten right against Russell Wilson, in the past. We saw it last year. I think if the Jets could get to 24 this week, I think the goal all year is going to be there. But if you can get to 24 this week, can you create a big play on special teams? Can you create a turnover on defense?
Can you hit your kicks? Like, if the Jets are the better team, so if they just take care of the ball and don't miss kicks, like, they should win. Like, this is not the Pittsburgh Steelers of old. I think so much of the talk about the Steelers based on reputation and not the actual performance we've seen on the field, despite their winning record so far.
Yeah, I just look, if you look back at the Steelers schedule, and again, you could do this with anybody, so I'm not sitting here. The Falcons game was Kirk when he had half a leg. They beat the Broncos in that poop fest. The Jets lost to the Broncos in a poop fest, so obviously who's to say? They beat the Chargers with,
Herbert got hurt in that game, didn't he?
Herbert was hurt. Herbert got hurt. Alt was out. Slater was out. Mack was out. Bosa was out. They quite literally beat them with nobody. The Colts put up 27 on them, not for nothing. The Cowboys beat them at home, and then they beat the Raiders, but not for nothing. The Raiders are probably closer to having another head coach than getting another extension for Antonio Pierce. So I just think they're a bit fraudulent at 4-2. Again, it remind me of that Jets team a couple years ago where you can talk yourself into we have some playmakers and the quarterback's not playing that bad. He's only throwing for 130 yards, but see, he didn't turn the football over. Look at this defense. I don't think particularly Pittsburgh's good. They're going to have a coaching advantage as a head coach. But I don't think Ulbrich and Arthur Smith is some mismatch for the Steelers have an advantage on him. Frankly, I don't know that Arthur Smith's very good at his job, even though the Jets did try to hire him this offseason. So this is a game that if you're a Jets fan or you're on that Jets roster, you're saying, if we don't beat ourselves, we are going to walk out of it. They are far more talented than the Steelers are. Not that means Jack Bleak, but it does at some point. So I don't know. I don't feel like this is a game that I'm rationally scared of. Rodgers has played in big environments. A lot of these Jets guys were there 2 years ago and beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. They had Renegade playing in the whole 9 yards. A lot of these guys heard it. It's not like their first time. So, yeah, man, I don't know. I don't look at this game quite. Pittsburgh could easily win this game, by the way. I'm not saying they can. This doesn't this is not the 2010 Jets and the 2010 Steelers. when Mike Tomlin was winning playoff games. It's a very different Steelers team.
Yeah, and if the Jets are who we think they should be, like, wake up and get it done, man. Like, good teams don't lose 4 straight games. I'm sorry.
No.
Figure it out.
Good teams, like, again, maybe I have green goggles and whatever, and people could say that that's the case, but, like, don't you feel like this is more of they win this, they're going to go on a run here and rattle off 4 or 5 in a row?
Can I tell you my prediction for the season now?
Yeah.
9-8 and miss the playoffs, because that'd be the most painful way to go out. It'd be too easy for them to just lose this game and then, play out the stretch or whatever. They're going to find a way to go 9-8, and we're going to be lamenting these brutal losses to Buffalo, Minnesota, Denver, and whatever backbreaking loss we have down the stretch in December.
So that's fair. If I just asked you right now, like, just ignore the last 6 weeks, because in reality, they only mean so much. Jets, Pittsburgh, who do you have winning that game?
No, the Jets should win this game, and they should be 10-7 this year. Well, that's what they should be.
The only 2 games I think they're clearly not going to win the rest of the year. The only game I think they're clearly not going to win is at Buffalo. They never win in Buffalo, and frankly,
when was the last time they won in Buffalo? Darnold's rookie year?
Yeah, probably, and Josh Allen wasn't getting super.
Oh, you know the last time they won in Buffalo? The game that meant nothing, that got them to 7-9 in Casey's first year.
Darnold in the rain. Matt
Allen didn't play. Yeah.
At New England, I think, like, before the bye, what's stopping them from going 4-1? At Pittsburgh, at New England, home Houston, at Arizona, home Indy. Indy sucks.
You
Arizona
see this logo
sucks.
right here? This is what's stopping them.
That's fair.
That's the problem. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Everything you're saying is right. It's just like just win on Sunday so we could actually, like, be a fan again and be excited.
Like, to me, there is a genuine, and this is not blowing smoke, a genuine path to 8-3 over the next 11, and I don't even think that's being, like, overly optimistic. Like, they're going to be favored in 9 of those 11 games.
They are.
So
they're favored this
again,
week.
We have to see it happen, right? Like, that's the counter to anything I'm saying. Anything you're saying is the Jets have to win. They start stacking wins, but at 4-4, I'm telling you, you're going to feel a lot better. And, like, this feels like the path to 4-4 is much stronger than the path to 2-6 or even 3-5.
If you're watching this live right now and have a question for Will, super chat it in. It will cut the line. Also, a couple great listeners right now do not have channel memberships. The great Rich in the chat, who's always doing my bidding, telling people to like the video and subscribe to the channel. He doesn't have a membership. So if you're the listener who gifts Rich a membership, we will send you an item from the jakeasman.com merch store. So keep that in mind. Tom Ace also doesn't have a membership. So if you are the listener who gives a membership to either of those two, fine gentlemen, we will get you an item in the merch store. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and like the video for a chance to get a channel membership gifted to you. Will, Mike Williams, I do not understand why the Jets would trade him at this point. He was back at practice today. Your thoughts on that whole situation? How do you see it playing out?
Yeah, it feels like Mike Williams probably traded by the end of the week.
I don't get it.
So the counter to your argument, which I don't disagree. I don't know why you don't have to, like, rush to move him. If anything, I'd try to hold on to him for 2 weeks and see if, I don't know.
God forbid there's an injury. Yeah.
God forbid there's an injury. Yeah, I just don't think Mike Williams wants to sit there and be, kind of cast away and on the bench. And if I'm the Jets, like, I am certainly a bit concerned that he has looked extremely slow the last couple of weeks. Like, he does not look overly explosive. He's kind of slipping and moving around, like running some of the wrong routes. He looked half asleep on Monday night. That to me was like, obviously everyone looked at the last drive in that play. It was more so like he wasn't really used that much. And then on top of that, you got thrown the hot route and he just, hit him right in the chest and he wasn't paying attention. If the Jets could go get a 5th round pick for him, which I feel like is probably extremely high, but let's just say they go get a 5th from the Chargers. I don't know. The problem is the money on the contract. Like, yeah, it's not a big cap hit. Like, obviously it's a 1-year deal, but they spread the money out over 3 years. So, they're going to be paying Mike Williams till 2028 on some variety. I mean, it's a very low number, but, like, his dead cap hit in 2 years is still $2 million. Like, it's just annoying. Obviously I'd much rather have it be Mike Williams, Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson, but we obviously know that's not going to happen. So maybe it's the Chargers, Saints, Steelers, whoever it may be. But while I don't think there should be a rush to keep him, a rush to trade him, it does feel like he's already not practicing. All of a sudden, it's doing all the classic signs of a guy that's about to get moved.
I just don't see why.
I don't get it either. Why is there a rush? What if Lazard sprains his ankle this week and you've already traded Mike Williams? Now you're back to Jason Brownlee. Like, why?
Also, the Jets will spin it. Oh, well, it gives us a chance to get Corley active, but they're not using him anyway. Xavier Gibson is still out there getting snaps.
Way too much Xavier Gibson, man. I don't. That's on special teams. It's on offense. It's like he doesn't like. What does he do well? That's like he's a marginally fast guy, but he's also like he's small and he doesn't make people miss. So I don't know, man. It's weird. The Gibson thing is a little overblown for me. Like I just don't get why he's getting any reps at all.
I got a trade for you. This was suggested by a fan on Twitter today. Mike Williams to the Saints for Nathan Shepard. Yep.
Sure.
That's the only way I would move Mike Williams.
If
I'm actually getting someone that could help fix a real problem for this team.
It's either getting someone or getting compensation that you can then flip for helping this team. Like one of the two. I saw someone suggest Clowney for Mike Williams. The Panthers have no cap space, but their money would kind of somewhat match up. I'm not saying Mike Williams is a bad player, by the way. He has not looked good the last couple of weeks, and he hasn't looked like he's made some plays early on, and he was starting to kind of come into form, and then it's just like totally faltered. And Rodgers obviously doesn't trust him right now, and which means he's not going to get the football. And if he's not going to get the football and doesn't want to be, he's not going to end up wanting to be here. It's probably nearing the end, but we'll have to see what the Jets make out of it. Can it be a player swap? Can they maybe take Mike Williams in a 4 and get a 2, or Mike Williams in a 3 and go to 2? You know what I mean? Like something like that where you maybe feel a little bit better. No, I can't get a 3, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say? Like maybe it's using him in a pick to get a better pick. We'll see what happens, but it does feel a little bit like 2 days in a row, personal reasons. Then he's on the, with no injury, he's, off to the side. A lot of weird, I'm about to get traded type behavior.
The whole thing is just odd. It's unfortunate too, because after barely playing in week 1, he made the biggest catch of the game in week 2, you could argue, against the Titans on that 2nd and 16.
Of course.
Then he had a really nice game, I thought, against the Patriots, and it looked like he was about to take off. The Denver game obviously was a mess in the rain. The Viking game happens, and it's like, okay, him and Rodgers aren't on the same page on the last route. And then he's barely thrown to the entire game as a bad drop. And then the last play of the game, obviously, against Buffalo. And it's like, that's it? Like, really?
Yeah, it's one of those odd things where it feels like, I love how Will's wrong. Okay, well, tell me that the other guy in the Jets roster that is in trade rumors by every insider and then randomly has a personal issue and then also randomly has an injury pop up. Davante Adams didn't have a hamstring. Okay, Davante Adams was clearly holding out to get traded. He basically, now his hamstring's magically healed and he gets moved. Like, this is what happens.
Here was the video of him being traded.
It's like the one that was like twerking, him twerking. I will say the one interesting kind of thing with the Jets receiver room, I'll be curious how they deploy these guys. If it were me, I would put Garrett in a position where he can kind of just move around the formation a ton, try to get him one-on-one with backers, one-on-one with safeties. I like Garrett run his usage and routes. I was going back and forth with Mina Kons about this on Twitter yesterday. Like the way they used Garrett on Monday night was the way Garrett should be used. Crossers, digs, not just everything in that 5 to 10 yard radius and hoping Garrett can make 8 guys miss. Like it was 15, 20 yard plays, things of that nature that, he was wide open, deep crossers, deep action. So does Davante maybe move more outside and be their man coverage beater? Garrett Wilson's the kind of guy that's the do it all that can play outside, play inside. And then, Lazard obviously would probably play the other outside role. The one other thing I'd like to see the Jets do, and I know this won't be popular, but why is Allen Lazard not like your second tight end right now? And you can go heavy personnel, you go 11, but you could run out of it. Lazard's a great blocker. It would make teams have to play a lighter box, lighter personnel. It's not as predictable. Right now, it just feels so predictable that when Ruckert or Bates or Ferkser, whoever the second tight end comes on the field, it's clearly like 98% of the time going to be a run, and teams bring on their bigger personnel. And if it's not the Jets, Can't you get Lazard to come down and crack block a little bit? Can't you put him as a big slot, Davante and Garrett outside, Conklin kind of in that more traditional Y spot, and then run out of it? Like I just that's a couple of those things, little tweaks that I would maybe make, because Lazard is 6'5", 230. Like, how much better of a blocker is Rucker going to be blocking an end than maybe there's not the extra defensive lineman. Maybe it's an extra linebacker that because Lazard's on the field, not Rucker, right? It's not anything against Rucker. Like if you're going to start throwing out of stuff with him, do it. But don't you just feel like, Jake, every time you go to a game, Jets put in their Tiger personnel, they run on the field, and you're like, oh, here we go. They're going to hand the ball off. Hopefully that changed some last week. I'd like to see that continue to change.
That was the thing. I think Downing did a nice job with, different route concepts for Garrett, getting Brees in space a lot more. Like it was encouraging. People will bring up the 1 for 4 in the red zone. To me, it wasn't the play calling. That was just purely on lack of execution by the players, man. I mean, Garrett has to hold on. A tough catch. Got to hold on to it. Brees has got to be able to cut upfield and score a touchdown.
Yeah, Gibson was almost wobbling at the line of scrimmage, and Moses looked at him. That was a killer on that drive too.
Yep.
Because it was I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, Jake, I feel like it was the play before the Garrett Wilson one or whatever it was. I don't remember. It's hard to it was 3 days ago already, but I think it was maybe it's 3rd and 7, 3rd and goal on the 7, and they had the false start. All of a sudden, now you're on the 12-yard line. It becomes a problem. These little things that add up. The Tyron Smith holding was just outrageous.
Brutal.
He didn't play well on Monday for sure, but geez, man, that was tough.
You know what it is too? It takes away from the fact that Downing called a really good play there. Use Allen as the fullback and fake like
awesome.
You're tossing it to Brees, and all the defense, all the attention went to Brees, and Allen had one-on-one and ran over his guy.
It was awesome. It was a great play call. It worked perfectly. That's what's the most frustrating part about it.
The pain, as Joe B would say. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Jesus Jerry with a super chat. He cuts the line. What will Russell Wilson bring to the game that the Jets should be away? I'm going to just assume he's saying aware of. Yep. Secondly, why sparingly use of Agent Zero? I'm baffled.
I think it might be a matchup thing. They got Brees going. And I think they kind of just rode the hot hand, from that perspective. And then, from the Russell Wilson perspective, Russ does, he is accurate. He throws a really nice deep ball. He's able to stretch the football field. From that perspective, he will take some shots. He'll throw better outside the numbers than Fields will. That's not really where the Jets struggle. So that's why I don't particularly see this being an issue. Russ doesn't really get outside the pocket and create as much as he used to. He takes a lot more hits than he used to. He refuses to throw over the middle of the field, which is where you can beat the Jets. I just don't view. Maybe
I'm
we'll be
blitzing
wrong
him this week. I'm trusting my corners. Pittsburgh
doesn't scary weapons.
Patriots.
Doing the same things. I'm doing the same things I get, against that we did against Russ, last year in Denver, and they beat him up pretty good.
I need a Quincy Williams blitz again for old time's sake. Brandon Echols picks it up, scoop and score.
Oh yeah.
Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Let me get a quick take from you on Haason Reddick. What do you make of the agency shift? What do you make of what Drew Rosenhaus has said publicly? Where are we at with Haason Reddick?
I think we have no other suitors, and we got caught with our pants down, and now we need the Jets to either. The Jets basically were like, cool, go look for trades. No one wants you. No one wants you because you haven't showed up to play football since being traded 4.5 months ago or whatever it is, and you want a bunch of money. He's going to end up having to play for the Jets on a 1-year deal unless the Lions get really aggressive here and say, or a team of that nature, like, hey, screw it, we'll figure it out later. But it feels like he's going to end up being a Jet, and I hope he plays amazing for 9, 10, 11 games, whatever it is, and he can go walk elsewhere if the Jets end up being successful. I don't see the Jets giving him a long-term deal. I'm sure they will just incentivize his deal this year and, say, hey, you go get us 10 sacks in 10 games, you'll make the money you were supposed to. Rosenhaus is not going to, wouldn't have taken him on if he didn't want him to play, but it very much feels like a lot of public, he doesn't need to be the highest paid rusher, and he doesn't need to be this. He doesn't need interesting. So you're saying all of the stuff that everyone heard, now at least we know he has no option, and the Jets are really his only legitimate option. And, I think, it seems like it's trending towards him playing for the Jets. But again, I guess someone like a Detroit could come in and out of nowhere and say, but the problem is it doesn't really benefit the Jets to just take on a pick. It'd have to be worth it. And
because they would lose their second-round pick in 2026.
No one's giving them back a 3. What's he going to get moved for a 6? That's not helpful for them. So I just hold on to him. and hope he shows up because they could certainly use him.
Peter Castro not happy. He was very angry this morning, Will, when he called in. He says, how come we don't blitz with this rotten defense? Because the coach is a nitwit.
I mean, was the defense like you wanted them to blitz Josh Allen? Like Josh Allen's amazing against the blitz and he's amazing against man coverage. So I don't feel like Josh was like particularly great on Monday night. He made some plays when he had to. The Jets also just didn't tackle. Like that's not like the second touchdown. Like I think all 4 guys on the defensive line had a shot at Josh Allen and missed it. So it comes down to like matchups are different. I think the Jets will blitz for us. I think they'll blitz Drake May. They'll do different things, but I don't know. To me, the only thing about the defense you would maybe blame is like the run defense. But other than that, I don't know, man. They held Buffalo to 3 points in the second half. They gave the Jets more than enough chances to win that football game.
If they had won, we're not talking about the defense being bad. We're saying bad start, settled in. Ulbrich first game being a head coach and play caller. Maybe that was the problem in the first half. And then it's like you gave him a chance in the second half. The issues with this team have been offensively, it has not been good enough. This was player driven on Monday night. The coaching staff did more than enough on both sides of the ball to give him a shot. These are on the players, man. Like that's why this game on Sunday, Aaron Rodgers, Davante, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, go win a football game, man. That's why you guys are here.
I'll continue. Sorry. I'm reading like blitzing Josh Allen is not smart. That's not how you beat Josh Allen. The Jets built their defense to beat Josh Allen 3 years ago. And it was rush with 4 and play zone coverage and make Josh get antsy and desperate. And if you get home with 4, you will beat him every single time. If you don't and you blitz him, he will pick you apart. That's literally what he does. So I'm seeing Joe Brady's offense is meant to run. No, they do run the football. There's nothing to do with why the Jets didn't overly blitz. Why is the defense even a conversation? Like I really don't understand. Other than the run defense, they have the second best pass defense in the NFL. Like what? I don't know. And they're down starter after starter. Like I'm just not sure that that's the thing that like
my big thing with the defense is like they don't have the same personnel they've had, and they're still putting together a top 10 unit so far, which would be fine if the offense does its job. Like there's no Reddick right now. Jermaine unfortunately got hurt in week 2. Like look at the D-line depth. They're playing a bunch of UDFAs. These are borderline rosterable players that are playing significant snaps. The one thing they could fix right away, Will, Michael Clemens needs to stop playing. The fact that he led all Jets defensive linemen in total snaps is an absolute joke.
He sucks. I don't know how else to say it. He's not good. Like he's just not a good football player.
What do they see in him? Like, is he like the greatest practice player ever? And they're just
every time I watch him in camp, you're like, wow, that guy is slow. Every single person in the building watching on TV knew Josh Allen was going to keep that football. He's the best player on their team. And there's a reason, that you put the ball in his hands. Like, and everyone saw it. And this dude was flat-footed against a guy who's a 5-time spitter athlete. It's plus, like, not for nothing. I just can't stand the Clemens is so much all his antics and all his different stuff. And like, there's just no positive to his game. Like, it's just all like, oh, cool. You made another team pissed off. And then you didn't back up what you were going to say. You're leaving your gap. He always like cuts inside and they run right behind him. It's super frustrating. And the sooner Reddick gets here, the less Michael Clemens will have to see.
Omari with a super chat. It's a $10 one. I'm a capitalist, so he cuts the line. I'm sorry, but can someone knock some sense into Nick Wright? How is the Jets offense trash, and how does Adams not make the team better? I really hope they shut these poop heads' mouths on Sunday.
I mean, I did ratio Nick Wright.
Dude.
Quite hard.
You nailed that. That was incredible. Tell everyone what you did. Everyone needs to know this.
Nick Wright posted a video talking about Davante Adams on First Things First. Nick is extremely smart, which is why this is pissing me off even more so. Like, he knows exactly what he's doing.
Yep.
And posted basically saying, this Dwayne character is hilarious in the comments. Buddy, come up for air. Nick Wright basically was like, Davante's amazing. He would help all 32 teams. Like, the Raiders are so stupid. He gets traded to the Jets, and I was like, I guarantee you he gets traded to the Jets, and Nick makes some excuse why Davante's not actually that good anymore, and the Jets are dumb. He's like, this doesn't make the Jets that much more than, like, only a little bit better, and he's got a gimpy hamstring, and he's washed. I'm like, okay, buddy. And then he tweeted out and was like, I didn't say that. The Jets owner sucks. And I was like, he got like 1,000 likes on it. Humbly. My tweet did about 10 times that. So Good job, Nick. You got ratioed by a stupid Jets fan.
Yeah, I mean, his bias against the Jets is because Aaron Rodgers didn't get vaccinated. Like, let's just call it for what it is.
And he's like, that's not why it is. I'm like,
yeah, okay.
Dude,
okay, buddy.
Man. Okay.
Okay.
Now, yeah, please. Spare me.
Anyway, super chat here from Jesus Jerry. Also, Gilmore and Johnston interceptions were incredible. Opposition has taken their chances. We haven't. We need to capitalize on our chances. Yeah, look, that's part of this too, right? I mean, Sauce Gardner to me has had a good year. He has not had a great year for his standards. It's like these are the kind of plays, though. It's like Sauce had a chance to make a game-changing play in London. He didn't do it. Like, there are a couple plays here or there.
Game-changing play on Monday night. Right?
Yep.
Like
they didn't fall on a fumble. Yep. No one fell on it. Or like Brees didn't cut up field and score a touchdown. Garrett, tough play, didn't hold on to that touchdown in the end zone. Like, your best players need to be your best players, and that's how you're going to win on Sunday.
Yeah, you got to capitalize on opportunities. When quarterbacks give you layups, you got to take them. When a guy puts the football on the ground, you got to recover it, right? Like, at the end of the day, yeah, obviously hope it changes. And I know they're the Jets, and, I'll get a bunch of comments saying, no, this won't ever happen for us. But at the end of the day, like, you have to take your opportunities, make your easy kicks. Denver gave them the football back because they're just not a good football team, and the Jets didn't take their chance. Minnesota blew it against the Jets, and the Jets didn't take their chance. The Bills gave the Jets, a chance there, and they didn't take it. So, at some point, you got to fall in a fumble. You got to make the extra play. You got to make that one guy miss that takes it from a close game to you blow the team out. Little things like that. It's just, the Jets took advantage of it against Tennessee. And I guess in some instances, New England, they didn't do that against, Denver, Minnesota, and Buffalo. And that's why they're 2-4.
John Finnegan says, Watt will kill us if we continue with these third and long. Yeah. I mean, look, the Jets offensively between the 20s were very efficient. Rodgers got the ball out quick. That's got to be the similar game plan. If you're in third and long against the Steelers, you're dead. So hopefully Davante Adams' ability to win in man coverage with Garrett, that's going to open things up. Garrett might be the best slot receiver in the NFL when they put him there.
Yeah, like, you got to run the ball, early. The Jets seem to have some success with throwing the ball on first down, right now. So maybe it's throwing the ball on first down. They used some screens. They did some different things on Monday night. You got to continue that and keep yourself in 3rd and 6 and, chip Watt every time. Maybe this is a game where unless Conklin's running, a seam route, you're keeping him in. He's chipping, and he's just an outlet to hope you get, as a security blanket for Rodgers. Maybe that's the week this is. Or, hey, we're going to go a lot of two-back stuff, and Braylon Allen's going to run into TJ Watt's, left shoulder, his upfield shoulder every single time.
That's a good idea.
Just different things of that nature. So, he's an incredible player. There's no doubt about it. I would trade 1 million first-round picks to TJ Watt on my team. But TJ Watt plays against every other, 31 teams in the NFL too. And the Jets are going to have to figure it out. He'd probably rush over Moses the majority of the time. So at least he's not backside. But, man, they're going to have to keep Watt in check and say anybody else beats us, we'll live with it. We're not going to let TJ beat us.
Ray Danger with a super chat. We wouldn't have to talk about blitzing Josh Allen or anybody else if Quinnen Williams played like Quinnen Williams. What's going on with that guy?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Quinnen, to be honest with you. He's getting moved quite easily. I don't know if it's the guys around him not playing well. I don't know if it's just him. He has not looked great this year overall. He's an incredible player, and he's not looked specifically great the last 2 weeks. So, yeah, look, if the Jets got home with 4 the way they did last year, the year before that, we wouldn't be talking about blitzing either, because who's got home all the time? Bryce Huff and John Franklin Myers would play really well against the Bills, and usually Quinnen would play quite well against the Bills in Buffalo and at home. They haven't done that, and the guys outside of Will McDonald and at times Quinnen have just not played great football.
I mean, they really have what feels like 2 legit starters on that D-line. That's it.
Yeah, they don't look good. Like, they don't look good on defense.
That's why this defense still being 2nd overall in yards and 7th in scoring, like, that's not bad given the personnel. Like,
no, it's not bad at all.
Now DJ Reed is probably not playing this week. Carter's out again. Like, they're like, this coaching staff is doing all they can with the talent they have. This is a front office personnel issue, why the defense is taking a step back. And also a little bad luck too. This defense has been remarkably healthy the last 2 years. I talked about this a lot in the offseason. Like, that's why you wanted to make your offense as good as you possibly can, because you can't bank on having the same level of health they've had the last 2 years. Outside of Al Woods, and I think 2 years ago, LaMarcus Joyner missed some time when he was a starter on this team. Like this defense, outside of like a game here from Reed and Sauce last year, they have been remarkably healthy. This year, not the case with Jermaine. Obviously, Reddick's a different story. But you look at Carter now hurt, Reed hurt. Like they have not had the same injury luck on defense. Mosley, the last 2 years they've had. It's a big part of this.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. Like they've had injury regression on defense, and you got to keep guys healthy on offense as well.
Mike D's Nuts writes in, couple field goals in this combo is different. True.
100%. Hard to argue with that, Mike.
Please hit field goals on Sunday, Greg. I really like Greg Zuerlein, but he's kicking for his job on Sunday, Will. There's no doubt.
That he's gonna have to have the phantom 4-week IR stint.
Do you think they carry an extra kicker? Like they sign someone to the practice squad and then they make him active in case Zuerlein's
No, probably not. They brought 3 guys in last week. Maybe it was like, hey, let's check where you're at.
Yesterday they did. Yeah, they had tryouts.
Yeah, if we need you next week, at least we kind of know where you're at.
One last super chat for Will, then we'll let him go. Nate with a super chat here. Will, I always despise number 72 on the field. What do you think of rotating edge of Solly, Will McDonald, Q, less double teams, DT Kinlaw, Fotu, Leonard Taylor III, and overall rotate the D-line less until Hassan plus more help arrive via trade?
Yeah, so they have started to do some of that. Solomon Thomas feels like he's playing a lot more edge, which is good. He's still an average at best player, but look, man, I think you make a good point. Getting creative, being able to put guys in advantageous different matchups. The issue is right now, like Leonard Taylor is really good against the pass and is horrible against the run. Lecky Fotu's played 40 plays in his Jets career. Like I'd like to see what he looks back in like maybe a second week of game shape. Watts and McGregor and these guys they're fun like for the future pieces. I don't think anyone was expecting them to be playing so much, this early on. So yeah, they're really light at defensive tackle. Now you move Solly outside, so now that takes another spot there. Like they're gonna probably have to go get at least one, if not 2 defensive tackles over the next month, whether it's cuts, whether it's trades, whether it doesn't have to be a superstar. I think people are just looking for like, can you do an okay job, like just standing there and eating 3 blocks so holes open up for linebackers. But yeah, man, like defensive line, as you mentioned, is certainly something that is a bit frustrating because going into the year we felt like this was a position of strength, and it's now probably a position more of weakness, at least at this point on this defense.
Are you excited for Jamal Adams to be back?
Yeah, so I'm a bit confused, like A, what he's doing, and B, I guess like if the Jets did that, it is what it is. Maybe you close the loop on another I'm coming home video for NYJ Matt, but I just really wonder if like even if there was interest on both sides, is Woody? Someone pointed this out today, and I actually do agree. Even if it's for like $500,000, is Jamal kind of like scorched earth Woody in that article from Cuckboy Manish. So I am very hesitant to say he would sign off on that, but again, maybe I'm wrong. I also just dropping a cuck reference in your thing was not what I expected to do today.
He also stinks, by the way. Like he's not good anymore. He is
Every time he makes a tackle, you're like, that was kind of a nice play, and you're like, he's probably gonna get injured because that's what he does every time he touches the.
He hasn't had a sack since 2020. He owes Greg Williams for his career. If you think about it.
Yeah, bring Greg Williams back in just to fire the guys on the defensive lineup.
By the way. Action. This is from Michael Nadia here. Here's a little Jamal Adams against the run the last couple of years. Oh, he can help the Jets run defense. No, he can't. No, he can't.
Oh, man. That is.
No, he can't.
That is. Well, I mean, this dude's getting like, wow.
He's also a bad guy, bad locker room guy. No, thank you. Look at him.
Yeah. I mean, nothing will ever beat Jamal Adams in the locker room after New England and, I don't know what year it was, 18 or 19, and saying we need more dogs in here. I'm like, buddy, please take a hike.
I mean, he's just bad, dude.
He's a bad football player. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
The only thing that would be interesting is him having to be in the same locker room with Costello and Hughes for the first time. That's about it.
That would be. Can we get a Florio and Jamal Adams versus Kaz, Rich, Zach Rosenblatt, and whoever else, and Hughes like melee battle royale. That would be excellent. Excellent. Oh my God, that clip he was a 4.33 guy, a 4.38 guy. Like that. I look like that running. Jesus Christ.
He's not good.
No, he's very bad, and he's very injured as well.
Will, plug the podcast, plug all the things you do one more time.
Yeah, Turn on Jets podcast had an episode or two, I guess, out since the Bills game, recapping Davante, John Ledyard, who is an awesome draft dude, but also covers the Steelers. I'm recording with him tonight. Me and Mike Giardi are doing the All 32 pod, which we will also cover the Jets. What else? Yeah, 3 different pods. Please subscribe, rate, review, do the whole 9 yards. And appreciate the comments as always. You guys are generational talent.
Love it. Will, let's go Yanks.
3 series over by Saturday night, baby.
Sign me up.
Gotta get ready for that bum Ohtani. Pete Rose reincarnated and potentially the Mets. Nate, I've read all your comments, buddy. You're a legend. But yeah, no, let's go Yanks and let's good positive vibes going into Sunday night.
Positive Will Parkinson, ladies and gentlemen. Give him a round of applause. Tremendous job by Will. Hit that like button if you're just tuning in. Only 139 likes, and there's 570 of you watching right now. Come on, man. Give me that thumbs up button, baby. As Green Bean would say, the milk thumbs. We need it. Hey, reminder to join my Patreon if you haven't, patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. Want to shout out our recent Patreon subscribers, Sean Beckerman, Gabe, and Philip. Thank you for your support. If you want a link to a Jets jersey that is $30 or less, I will send that to you if you join the Patreon. Patreon.com/Jake Asman Show if you're interested in getting a Davante Adams jersey. When it becomes available, that website I'll send you should have it. So keep that in mind. Ladies and gentlemen, comments, questions, super chats, we'll cut the line. AJ writes in, believer again for this week. Hopefully they don't let us down. This kind of feels like the last week this fan base will still believe, like hold out hope, you know? Like even the most positive Jet fan, I hope I don't have to see this, but I challenge any like Neils of the world to spin it positive if they're 2-5. Great, they could beat the Patriots, then what? Even that wouldn't be a given if they lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Dave writes in, win in Pittsburgh will make up for a lot of our current headache. Amen, man. And what, Dave? But they have really put themselves in a hole. They have no wiggle room now. They got to win on Sunday. Because not just if you lose on Sunday and you're 2-5, you also lose a tiebreaker now to Pittsburgh. That's a team that's going to be right around the 9-win mark that you're coveting to get 9-10 wins for a playoff spot. Tom says, Jake, at least you forget how great of a salesman Neil is. You're right. You're right. When you're right, you're right, Tom. Neil will figure it out. It's tough. Gusbuster Hotline is open if you want in on the conversation. Before we get to any of that, let's pause right now. I want to tell you guys about OddsJam. You guys have heard me talk about OddsJam on the show the last couple of days. OddsJam, if you're a sports bettor, is basically a software that's going to change your life if you're a sports bettor. No matter where you're based, by the way. They custom make the settings on OddsJam based on the location you're in. OddsJam, for those who are unaware, is a betting software that helps users identify profitable bets across any legalized sports book you're going to find in the country. They take real-time odds, analyze it for you, and basically tell you what the best bets you can make based on a winning probability, which is all what betting really is at the end of the day. I'll give you guys an on-screen example. You ready? Here's what we like to call the magic that is OddsJam. I'm going to show you guys arbitrage betting. Arbitrage betting, for the layman's term, it's basically you bet both sides of the same bet at a different sports book, and you're guaranteed the win because you're taking both sides. It is a statistical fact. You will win if you bet the over on the total goals scored tonight in the Anaheim and Colorado Avalanche game, and if you bet the under 6. Now, you might be saying, Jake, how is that possible? Well, it's simple. It tells you what sports books you're getting these odds on. So they do the math for you. They tell you what books, and I'm in New York, so it's legal. All these books here, whether it's JuiceBet or BetPlay or Penny or Pinnacle, these are all legalized sports books in New York. You plug in over here what your unit is for the sake of this conversation. I have $100. So it's going to tell you to bet 100 on the over, 80 on the under, and you're guaranteed to win between $9 and $20. That's what OddsJam does for you. They make it easy. They got every sport. You can customize it if you're just someone who wants to bet on football, have some action on baseball with the playoffs here, whatever it is, they got it for you. If you're interested in learning more, you could sign up for a free 7-day trial using promo code Asman at oddsjam.com. So use the trial for 7 days. You're going to be like, wow, I'm winning money. I'm going to sign up now for a real subscription. That promo code is also going to save you 35%. So try it out, and I'm telling you, you'll see results like I have, and it's a lot of fun. They have a bunch of other programs that help with sports bets and daily fantasy, but I wanted to highlight the arbitrage betting because, I mean, it's guaranteed money. It's that easy. 7-day free trial plus 35% off your subscription. Code Asman when you sign up. Click that link in the description for OddsJam or just go to oddsjam.com and use the promo code. Shout out to OddsJam for being a part of our show. Let's say hello to Kyle Clifton, who's first up on the Gusbuster hotline. What's up, Kyle?
What's going on, Jake? I'm multitasking here, checking math homework, so on. I think that if they lose this week, I'm going to be out. I don't know how I can do it much longer. I am, however, salivating over the possibility of Russ being the quarterback. I think that's a particularly good matchup for us. He can't really run anymore. He's small. Eventually, we will get home, and our second and third levels are still elite of the defense. So that's one thing we have going for us, and obviously we're all anxious to see how Davante is going to impact the offense, and all hope it's going to be positively. I don't think Mike Williams should be going anywhere. I've kind of voiced that opinion before. Have him compete with Lazard on a week to be the boundary receiver. It's not going to save us any significant money or impact us negatively to get rid of him. We don't want to trade him within the AFC. And, as Will was saying, what are we really going to get back for him anyway? Let's keep him in-house. I think that having him around, and hopefully he will be able to round into form physically within the offense, mentally, in the coming weeks, and he'll be someone who's a little bit more like his old self. And as far as the player that shall not be named, I feel like it's him playing for us on his current contract, or it's him not playing. So it's a waiting game.
And he has till week 13 to show up or his contract tolls. So it's a waiting game from now until then if he wants to continue to play this game.
I mean, he can do that. He's going to continue to lose money. So
right.
It makes absolutely no sense to do that. If I'm Rosenhaus, I'm getting in that guy's ear and saying, you have to show up so you stop hemorrhaging cash. And then put some tape out so that teams will look at you next year. And it's really that easy.
Amen, Kyle.
That's all.
Good call.
That's all I had.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kyle Clifton. Sometimes he calls from a beautiful living room. Other times he calls from an undisclosed brick wall where he's bricked up for Jeff Ulbrich. Ladies and gentlemen, the Hamburger is on the line. Hello, Hamburger.
What's up, Jake? Happy, beautiful baseball afternoon.
That's right. A little chilly today in New York. Feels like the postseason.
It is freezing, man. I went out before to get some things out of my car, and it was freezing. But I want to clear something up with Alan from earlier. No, I am not advocating for Joe Douglas to be back next year, no matter what. But I think the way Woody operates and what he's told us is that he's coming back. I think Aaron doesn't want another rebuild. He's not going to want another GM in here. And if he's going to be here for another 2 years, he doesn't want that. And I don't blame him. So it's just that I just don't think that Joe Douglas is going to go anywhere. So I think on the game plan for this weekend, I think we match up well with Wilson. He can't get out of the pocket. He likes to throw the ball down the field. I think that plays well for us. I think we'll be able to get Will McDonald in there. I think he's going to have 2 sacks this weekend. And hopefully maybe we get a strip out of him again like we did when he was in Denver. My prediction for the weekend is 24-10 Jets. Yeah, that's how I feel right now. But I will be out. if they lose this weekend. I will be out, and it'll take a lot to get me back in. A lot.
Yeah, I know it's going to take a lot of wins, man. You're right.
So-
Look, 24-10. If you just told me, like, ignore what we have seen on the field from the Jets this year and just look at the teams, 24-10 makes sense. The problem is we can't ignore what we've seen on the field from the Jets.
Sure. I don't think they're going to be able to run that much on us like we think they will. Because Najee Harris isn't that good. So I'm not expecting them to run 140. If we get 85 yards out of them, stop them to 85 yards. Our offense is going to have a feast this weekend. I really believe.
The problem is the backup running backs have torched the Jets this year. You know, like McCaffrey wasn't there week one.
I know.
It didn't matter.
I'm trying to make sense out of it here, Jake.
Ray Davis, is he related to Charles? Like, he was out there carving them up, you know?
I know. Well, listen, man, good luck on your Yankees tonight. Let's go, Mets. Let's bring some wins home for tonight from New York.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, the Hamburger checking in before his Mets play a pivotal game 4 tonight at Citi Field. Brian says, I'm never out. Well, that's the problem. Like, we're out, but we're still going to watch. It's just like, it would be a bummer for this. If this team loses and they're 2-5, like, wow. Like, even if you were not expecting the Jets to be great this year, you never bought in. Like, you didn't think they'd be 2-5. Like, I thought their floor was 9 wins, 9-8. They won 7 the last 2 years. It's just crazy. And it's not like Rodgers has been bad. He's been pretty good. He was not good in London. The Denver game, like, no one was good that. The weather was terrible. They didn't protect him. I'm not killing him for that one. And he still gave him a chance to win the game. If Zerline could hit a kick, he's hit how many times the last 2 years? He was great against New England. He was okay in the first half against Tennessee. Was very good in the second half. Phenomenal in that game-winning drive. And week 1, he barely had the ball, but looked pretty good when he had it. Like, Rodgers has done his part. The whole premise was he didn't need to be MVP Rodgers for this team to win games. And he played very well on Monday. And if they can hit a field goal, they win. Or if Tyron Smith doesn't hold, they win. Like, it's tough. David D with an Asmaniac super chat. The Pittsburgh Steelers are the dirty perineum of the NFL. Go New York Jets. What word is that? Perineum? I don't know. I'm not smart enough to read that word, I guess. Mike D's Nuts is in the house. He super chats. I'll never say I'm out on this team. Yeah, I mean, you're always going to be a fan, but it's like, I think the morale will be a new level of depressing if they lose. These nuts. We had to play it for the vibes, Mike. Ladies and gentlemen, Q is on the line. I don't recognize this caller. Hello, Q.
What up, Jake? This is my second time calling in. I'm a new listener, so I appreciate you taking my call.
Where are you from?
Originally tri-state area. Now I'm up in beautiful Maine.
Nice, man. You look like Jake Paul. I don't know if anyone's told you that.
I'm gonna take that as a compliment, but that could easily go the other way, man.
I will say this: I have interviewed Jake Paul before. He was actually very nice. So
I'm not surprised. He's playing
a lot of his act. Yeah, he's playing a character. He's a wrestler. He's playing a character. You know, like WWE boxer, that type of thing.
You want to hear a conspiracy theory that I have?
Sure.
With Jamal Adams. I think he's forcing his way out so that the Titans can give another guy a chance, so that they can try and beat the Bills this week. Give us a chance. He's a Jet. He's a Jet for life. He's the best in the nation.
I'll tell you what. Him being on the field makes your football team worse. So I like the theory.
Absolutely.
They benched him against the Jets, by the way. He was awful in that game, and he didn't play in the second half.
He had one good tackle, I remember. I can't remember who it was against, and that was the last time his number got called. It was one tackle. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling very similar to all these Jet fans. It's hard to get super excited about this Davante news. I'm out if we lose. All of the stuff that we've been saying. This is random, but my thing says #1 Troy Aikman hater. I hated him in the booth this past weekend, man. Like I listened to him on Part of My Take the week before. Thought he seemed like a pretty good dude. Then in the booth, he's calling Tippmann McGovern, which I thought was extremely disrespectful. And then
he just screwed that up. Yeah, you just screwed that up.
Yeah, I know people make mistakes, give or take. But then he's saying Salah's on the couch saying, "Oh, this is finally the week that the offense is going." Like, I feel like he's just disrespecting our team a little bit. And you got to create storylines, you got to make it entertaining. But I mean, I think the Jets are doing them to themselves a little bit by creating this crazy headline organization. But yeah, man, it's definitely looking like the same old Jets can easily come back if we don't win this week. So I don't know, man. It's a tough place to play. I wanted to ask you, someone on your, I forget exactly who, said that Pittsburgh is a particularly hard place to kick. Do you agree with that? Do you find that that's been something that's a historical precedent?
Well, any longtime Jet fan will bring up 2004. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's,
I was real little then, but
there's one side of the end zone that's more difficult than the other, from what I understand. But it's not an excuse. Like we're not asking Greg Zuerlein to hit from 60. You're an NFL kicker. You got to be able to hit from 45 and under. It's got to be automatic in today's NFL. Automatic. He missed a 32-yarder and a 43-yarder. These got to be automatics.
Automatic. Yeah. Anything under 50 yards, you got to kind of be upwards of 90+% on those. So I agree with you, man. Hopefully we can rein it in. Go Yanks. Hopefully Judge, that last home run got hit, kind of took the lid off of things, and he starts to show up big in these next couple games.
No doubt. Great call, Q. I'll tell you what, if Judge starts hitting now, the series is a wrap. Might be anyway because the Yankees are just better. But the Yankees have basically been able to win all these games without Aaron Judge carrying them. And he broke out the other night. If he gets going, they're going to need it because they cannot. I do not think whether they play the Mets or the Dodgers, I don't think they could win unless Judge hits. I don't. Like, they need him to hit with runners on base because it keeps finding him in spots, especially early in these games where there's opportunities early. And you put up a crooked number, you put the game away. And they haven't been able to do it yet. But I do like the fact Giancarlo is behind him now because Stanton's been the Yankees' best hitter in these playoffs. So that's the right move to put Stanton in the 4 spot, move Wells down. I know Wells is not even playing tonight against the lefty. They're going with Trevino, but we'll see. Last chance to get in. I got open phone lines if you want in on the conversation. Will Parkinson joined us for almost the first hour of the show. Prestige wrote in, Logan Paul's the wrestler, Jake. I know, but Jake Paul also is involved in WWE. Q looked like Jake Paul, who's the boxer, but, he's a show business guy. He's playing a character when he's promoting his fights against whoever. Now Mike Tyson coming up. I interviewed Jake Paul, and when the camera wasn't on, he was pretty normal. It wasn't like this rah-rah, look at me guy. That's what I'm saying. My Holy says the kicker needs to be disciplined. Yeah. Look, I mean, Greg's kicking for his job this week. There's no doubt. Problem when you're a kicker is when you lose it, you can lose it fast. And Zuerlein does have a history of this, unfortunately. Some really good years, and then, boom, falls off a cliff. Happened in L.A., goes to Dallas, is good, then, boom, fell off a cliff. Goes to the Jets, really good, really good. Uh-oh. So, we are firmly on Zuerlein watch. It could get scary. Got to figure it out, man. Got to figure it out. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Let's get those likes up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's say hello to Nate, parentheses Nate. Hello, Nate.
How's it going, Jake?
Living the dream.
I was just texting Gary for an hour after your show about the whole Davante Adams and trying to explain to him how it was the right move to make, and I have some asinine comments from him. It was one of, I mean, I love Gary. It might have been one of his worst. He never wants to say no or that he's lost an argument, but it was a tough hour trying to get through to him.
Why would you voluntarily text with Gary about one of his takes?
I said one thing. I said it's a $3.2 million cap hit because he was saying it's 11 mil and now we can't afford Haason Reddick and blah 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 blah. And he was just like, Joe Douglas can learn a lot from the Bills, and he was like, therefore, he basically said, therefore, we can expect the Jets to have more success than the Bills, right, because of this trade. Like it all depends on Amari Cooper. Anyway, I heard your comments earlier. I think it was this show about the Mike Williams situation and how you were a big proponent of keeping him.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously other callers has said this. I think the human element is somewhat overlooked in football and this situation in general. Just like the Saleh firing, that was the first thing Rodgers said. Like Mike Williams came here to be the number 2 wide receiver, get a lot of touchdowns, have a bounce back year, and make a lot on the open market next year. And Joe Douglas, I feel like would. You saw, just like Will Parkinson said, he didn't practice. All the signs are showing he's going to get traded, but I just feel like you do right by a player like that. Like he needs to get paid. He doesn't want to be a 4th wide receiver here. That's not what he signed up for. Clearly, Aaron would want Lazard over him on the field, right? On a big third down. Like he just trusts Lazard. He likes having Lazard out there. I'm not saying Lazard is better. I'm saying he'd rather have Lazard out there. And we know Garrett and Davante is going to be there. So like him being the 4th option is just not viable. And if you're, Joe Douglas is a guy that's going to negotiate contracts in the future. You don't want to have this reputation of kind of screwing guys over, 5 games after you sign them with all these high hopes and he was the Taylor Ham guy and this, that, and the other. So I think that like it's not Madden. If it was Madden, yeah, I'd want all the 85 overall players that are 6'5" with great catch in traffic. But it's like that it's not realistic to keep a guy on a 1-year 10 mil contract. Like his livelihood, so to speak, depends on how he plays this year, and he does need to see the field.
I mean, I get it. He signed the contract. Lazard has been better than him. Go beat out Lazard and get on the same page as Rodgers if you want to play. Like I want to win games, man. I know I'm tired of looking out for the rest of the league, doing right by the player. No, this guy is under contract. We are 5 games in, going into the 6th game. No. I'm not doing right by the guy. Like we're talking about 3 weeks to go till the trade deadline. It's not till November 5th. I'm not in any rush to deal this guy. What if, God forbid, there's an injury this week to Garrett, Davante, or Lazard? Then you need Mike Williams.
Yeah, no, that's definitely on the table. I guess they feel, I don't know. I think there's just a personal touch that goes with, just like Haason. Like Haason hasn't done anything right by you, so we're not going to trade him at all to an NFC team for a second or an AFC team to hurt us in the playoffs. Like he's either going to be a Jet or he's not, or he could, kick rocks. But with this guy, I just feel like every situation is different. Just like I was trying to explain to Gary. Gary was saying that he's not 4 times the player. Davante is not 4 times the player. I was like, it's a difference of $2 million. It doesn't matter. Like every situation, it's not a specific value to a guy. So it's tough. I mean, yeah, like you said, he signed the contract. He physically signed the contract with certain expectations. I'm sure everyone is saying that in the chat too. Like he put pen to paper, but I don't know. It definitely it impacts things in the future, too. If you're gonna sign players and then they think in 5 weeks they're gonna be run out of the town, so to speak, or sent to the bottom of the depth chart where they can't actually make the money in the future of their career.
They did right by Mecole Hardman last year, and then he trashed the Jets anyway. Screw doing right by these players, all right? You signed a contract. No, I don't care.
Yeah, and Hardman sucks. Yeah.
If Mike Williams is unhappy, then play better. He had a brutal drop in this game too, where like you could have caught that pass. Like I'm tired of it, man. It should be about the Jets winning games. This guy could help them. He signed the contract. If he's gonna bitch and moan, make him a healthy and active. But I don't think he's going to. So just deal with it.
Do you think there was anything in the Rodgers comments? And well, I don't know if I remember your thoughts about the Rodgers comments. Obviously, everybody brought up the red line and da-da-da. And he was saying, I was asked the question. I wasn't throwing him under the bus, but, guys got to be accountable, blah, blah. What were your initial thoughts on that? Because I kind of flip-flopped. Like, initially, I was saying, yeah, everyone has to be accountable. But then the more and more I think about it, I was like, leadership is kind of he could do that behind the scenes and hold himself accountable in front of the manipulative New York media, right? Because what if Williams responds and they say, "Hey, Rod, did you hear Rodgers' post-game comments? What do you have to say?" And he goes, the corner played me a certain way, and then Aaron threw it short, so I had to adjust, and now we're all freaking the hell out because now Aaron said this about Mike Williams, and Mike Williams responded saying he underthrew. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that type of stuff can be kept behind closed doors. I didn't know your take on that situation, and if it had anything to do for it. If behind the scenes he's like, all right, this guy doesn't effing like me, F out of here. That's what I signed up for. He can go play with his best friend.
I mean, I think it's being a little overblown. I think Rodgers could have handled it better, though. And I think if he could do it over, he probably would give a different answer. I think he was pissed after the game. He was asked a question about that specific play, and he gave you that answer. But I feel like if he could do it over, he probably would word it differently. Like there's a way to like talk about that without it appearing.
Yeah, he was emotional.
Do I think it's a big deal though? I don't. I really don't. I think it does get the Rodgers haters, though, something they could point to as additional ammunition. But, anyone trying to say he's somehow a bad teammate when his own teammates a year ago voted him best teammate, come on.
No, not at all. Yeah, I think it was he could have handled it better, but people are obviously it's always black and white, and you have to choose one side. But yeah, it was an emotional situation. All right, Jake, I appreciate the time. Good luck to your Yankees, and we need one tonight. My Mets need one.
Are you going? You going again, Nate?
No, I'm not. I had my moment in the sun. I saw the Lindor Grand Slam. I got to
All right.
celebrate with everyone for hours. It was like I was saying to my friend, he invited me last night. I was like, dude, what if I'm happy right now. I don't want to go see them get as they did last night,
Where's
shut
the
out
Mets bar
8-0.
in Manhattan today, Nate? Where are we watching the game?
At the Playwright on 35th, right off 5th, they have free beer for 1 hour before the game for everyone there. Free beer for 1 hour before the game.
The
I'm not
Playwright
kidding.
on where is this?
On 35th. On 35th, right off of
Oh, it's
where's
right near the
H&M?
Garden.
We're on Herald Square off 6th Avenue. Like, yeah, right by that going north, 6th Avenue, between 6th and 5th.
Yeah,
On 35th Street. The Playwright. It's a full Mets bar, like the 7 Line's always there. I've been there for 3 games this playoffs. It's wild. It's free beer the whole hour ahead of time. Just free beer. You just go to the bar
wow,
and ask for the free beer.
that's interesting.
So,
All right,
yeah,
well, I'll be
that's
watching the
spot, Jake,
Yankees.
if you want to
But
get. I hear you.
any of you Met fans
Talk
out
to you
there,
soon,
go
Jake.
join Nate. Nate, appreciate you. Pretty good. Free beer. Jake Klein goes, my Mets friends have been at the Playwright every game. Big UFC bar, no cover. That's good. Good to know. Good to know. I'm going to play this again, right? Dan Orlovsky the other day breaking down the Mike Williams mishap on the Rodgers pick at the end of the game. I just think more people maybe need to see this, right? Like, this is the difference between winning a game and losing a game. Like, a couple of these finer details. And Davante talked about it yesterday when he met with the media. He's like, this team easily could be 5-1 right now if there were just a couple plays this offense made. He's right. And this is one of those plays right here.
All right, so the final interception, late game last night. Where's the execution need to be better? What's Rodgers talking about post-game when he's saying, hey, I'm expecting Mike to be on a red line, taking their shot downfield? All the details attached to it. Again, a massive part of this is the details of offensive execution. Okay, so number one, when Aaron's talking about the red line, every team essentially has a red line that is painted from end zone to end zone, and it will go 5 yards from the sideline. So up here, 5 yards from the sideline, and it'll be painted all the way down the field. And when they throw vertical shots outside, you tell the wide receiver, hold the red line, stay on the red line. And so then there's space to drift that wide receiver towards the sideline. Okay, so that's when Aaron's saying, I'm expecting him to be on a red line. He's expecting Mike to be out here. Okay, so that's the premise of when he says, hold the red line. He's expecting Mike to be out here 5 yards from the sideline. Okay, so now why? Why would that be the case? Number one, you're expecting Buffalo to be in some form of a 2 deep safety defense, which is what they spin to. Taron Johnson spins back. 2 deep safeties, meaning you're deep and you're deep. All right, this safety, DeMar Hamlin, spun down into that middle linebacker run through. Now, 2, the alignment. You have the slot receiver on the ball, the outside receiver off the ball. Why? You want this receiver to get vertical as quickly as possible to threaten that half-field safety, okay? That 2 deep half-field safety. You want this receiver on the outside to be 5 yards behind this receiver. You're trying to put this guy in stress. If they're both here at the same depth, there's not enough stress. You want this safety to feel that speed down the field and that I have to go cover him and almost void that really deep half priority or rule and play this receiver. And as this safety leaves, you want this then receiver to replace, okay? So you want that disparity. That's perfect right there. The only problem is you want Mike here. You want Mike to be about 6 or 7 yards wider. Now, if Mike is 6 or 7 yards wider, then you've really got something cooking. Now, is this ball going to be underthrown? Absolutely. But you don't mind the underthrow. If Mike, I promise you, if Mike is here, he's going to go make this catch. He's not going to slip. He's not going to, the adjustment is going to be outside in rather than rolling over inside out. So that's exactly what happens. This is a really good play call. It's really good protection. It's fantastic by the slot. You get the safety to do exactly what you want. You just need Mike, after he gets to here, to widen. You need him to strain for width to get to there. If he does that, I believe he doesn't slip. It's an outside in rather than an inside out adjustment. And I think his size goes and makes that catch.
Orlovsky is phenomenal at the film breakdown. He really is. I mean, that's the difference in winning and losing right there. A couple plays here or there in each of these games. Now, Mike Williams catches that. There's no guarantee, I guess, Zerline's going to hit the kick to tie the game, but you're at the 20-yard line. Maybe you score a touchdown, he doesn't need to kick it. I will say, Downing having that play call in that spot on 3rd and 16, that's encouraging. He did a nice job. You hope it's not too late. You hope that they could build on whatever they did on Monday offensively, get in the end zone, and just win a game on Sunday. Get to 3-4 with a chance to get to 500 against a Patriots team you're going to be a big favorite against, even on the road. And then you can have a season. Then you can have a season. Gangrene Goliath, making so many excuses for Aaron throwing short. You're a moron, dude. I can't. How could you watch that and your takeaway is blaming Aaron Rodgers? Also, if you heard Aaron's breakdown of that play, he underthrew it because he tried to adjust to the route Mike Williams was running rather than the route he was supposed to be running. That's the whole point. Goodbye.
Into the shadow realm you go.
Forget about his vaccine and political opinions. Aaron's football IQ isn't very high.
GFY. First word is go and the last word is yourself.
I can't. It's just stupid, man. This team has never had a quarterback outside of a handful of years here or there. This guy threw for basically 300 yards the other night. Had 100 quarterback rating. They had 200 yard, 2 receivers that went over 100 yards. And we're blaming I can't. KJ, you're up next. Hello, KJ. You're on mute, KJ. KJ, you got to hit that mic button that unmutes you, and we'll be able to hear you. Usually how this works, and he's gone. I hate to see it. Patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. If you want to link to $30 Jet jerseys, I'll include that in your membership. Shout out to everyone who's on the Patreon who supports the show that way. I truly appreciate it. Let's say hello to KJ in Colorado. See if we can hear him this time. Hello, KJ.
I think I'm there now. Right?
Hey.
The button wasn't there on the screen. Normally you hover over the screen and the button pops up. It wasn't there. But yeah, on the Mike Williams thing, yeah, I'm with you 100%. You don't want to be buried, then make plays. You're paid to make plays, and you arguably had 2 of the biggest gaffes the last 2 weeks with the game on the line. So no argument there. All the stuff about Davante Adams not making this team better, anybody who thinks that is a complete joke, because if you swap him for Mike Williams each of the last 2 weeks and then go back to the week before that against Denver and swap him for Gibson down the sideline at the end of that game, you're telling me that the 3 of those, he wouldn't have gotten at least 2 of them?
They probably have at least 2 more wins if they had him for the whole year. You're right.
Yeah. So keep Mike Williams, because we're one injury away from Gibson being on the field. That doesn't make any sense. But yeah, that's my whole feelings on the Williams thing. But yeah, I'm heading out tomorrow to Pittsburgh. This feels exactly like last year with Vegas of hey, this is the game. If you're not going to win now, here goes the season. And I'm just sick of doing this over and over and over again. I want to go on one of these, I'm in the same boat as you. I want to go on one of these trips and feel good about the team winning. But yeah, it was tough. So go Jets, and I'll be there this weekend. And go Yankees.
KJ, get us a win in Pittsburgh, man. Man, I know there's a lot of Jet fans making that trip. I hope you guys see a win. We need it in the worst way. Alan says Saints lost Shaheed for the season. Trade Williams there. They're one of the teams that, according to the Athletic, checked in. I would do Mike Williams for Nathan Shepard straight up. Shepard could help the run defense. He's solid. He's been in the system. I would do that. But I don't want to just give Mike Williams away. That was my whole point. Like, I'm sorry, but getting a 6th round pick swap for Mike Williams, the Joe Douglas special, I'm not into it. I'm good. I'd rather just keep the guy. Yeah, despite that play we just showed, this guy did make a couple nice plays the first 3 games of the year. And you're thinking, okay, there's something there. Just going to take him a little bit. Lawrence says, currently, why isn't there more of a sense of urgency to fix the D-line if we're all in? There should be moves now. You just got to tell me what moves you're trying to make. The move to make is Haason Reddick whenever he wants to stop being a moron and play football. Boomtown writes in, KJ, if you're in the Discord, make sure to hook up with other Jet fans going to that game. That's right. All Jet fans going to Pittsburgh. Join my Patreon so you can check out the Discord. We have a tab of we have a great group of Jet fans as Maniacs going to that game. Ryan says, I'll be in Pittsburgh and I'm bringing the vibes. Ryan, I think you're a Patreon member, right? Nate says, what if trading Mike Williams brings you a D lineman? I just said I would do it for Nathan Shepard. That's the only exception. Like, I'm not giving away Mike Williams, but if I could get something that could help the team for him, fine. Ricky NY in the house. Mike Williams should not go anywhere unless the team blows us away with an offer. I don't see that happening. Yeah, I don't see it either. KJ says, I'm in the Discord. There you go, KJ, so you know. ICFOS says, Coach Mike might put his leg out to trip a player again. He will throw the kitchen sink at us. I do remember that play on the kickoff return. He didn't put his leg out, though. He just kind of got in the guy's way. Remember the Jets had that, too, with one of their assistant coaches in 2010 against the Dolphins? Sal Alosi was the guy's name. Remember that? Brazil Jets goes, T2 Sunday, I might take a flight. Bro, if you fly in from Brazil to come to this watch party Sunday night, all your drinks, your food, it's comped by me, Brazil Jets. God bless if you're flying in from Brazil to come to this. My God. The least we could do. Brazil Jets might come in from Brazil. What's everyone else's excuse not to be there Sunday night? Let's go. Alan says, what's a Discord? Oh, you know, Alan. Remember when you were in there and everyone despised your influence? And then you left? What a moment that was. Hennessy Heisman says, you saw the Becton comments. Yeah, I saw what that tubby bastard said. You talk about a guy who's burning every bridge when you weren't that good. I mean, at least Jamal Adams was an all-pro when he was here. But Guy Becton's a bust. Ridiculous. Henny with a super chat. Does Russell Wilson play? How does he look versus our defense? If he starts, I think it's a good matchup for the Jets. I don't see Pittsburgh scoring more than 17 points. I think 20 is enough to win. I'm not a Russ guy. I don't think he's the same guy. Not even close to it. He doesn't move as well. I think he gets a little skittish in the pocket at times. And it's not like Pittsburgh's got great receivers. I think they'd be making a mistake to sit him. Or just sit Fields. Because while Fields is not a great thrower of the football, he is very good at running. And that's given this defense fits. You know, doesn't guarantee anything. The Jets got to get it done. But if you're asking me, which quarterback do I think gives the Jets a better chance to win? I think it's Russell Wilson. Crazy. Last chance to get your comment read. If you haven't submitted the super chat yet and you want it guaranteed to be read. Also, no one's gifted a membership yet, but the offer still stands. If Rich or Tom Ace get a membership gift, we're sending you an item in the merch store. Super chat from Dante. He cuts the line. Thank you, Dante. That $10 right there is going to go to the Chipotle fund for this Yankees game coming up. Bang! Bang! You know, I wasn't the biggest Salah fan, but seeing Becton's deleted tweet pissed me off. Was it Salah's fault you came in super heavy? Was it his fault you couldn't block? Worth a poop. F out of here. I mean, I don't know if you saw it, Dante, but I eviscerated Becton when we first saw that tweet that has since been deleted on the day Salah got fired. He posted that meme of the guy at the funeral of his enemy. I mean, Mekhi Becton's a bust. Honestly, I'm convinced he still plays for the Jets. Number 77 on Monday night at left tackle looked a lot like Mekhi Becton to me. Maybe that number's cursed. Maybe Tyron Smith could change his number like Malachi Corley just did for Davante. Could we give Tyron Smith number 60? Let him be DeBrickashaw Ferguson for the rest of the year? Who's 60 on the Jets right now? Am I missing someone? Maybe we should try and do that. Because I refuse to believe Tyron Smith goes from second team All-Pro last year in 13 games to a guy who now is Mekhi Becton level of bad. I refuse to believe that. I'm not buying it. I don't believe there is a 60 on the Jets right now. Give Tyron Smith number 60. All right? We gave Olu 74. We could give Tyron Smith 60 to try and get him going. Ridiculous. David says, hey, we're going to drop 35 on Sunday night. Good God. I'll tell you what. That happens. David, you call in. And you could tell everyone you called it. I see Bobby Midnight has entered the chat. Hi, all my friends. I am here. Well, Bobby, I was going to end the show, but if you want to call in, I will extend the show for you. All right? So last chance for you, Bobby Midnight. Because then we got Yankee baseball to watch. Alan writes in, if I gift a membership and get Tom Ace a membership, my car could use a Jake Asman shirt rack. Well, Alan, if you're the one who gives a membership and it's Tom Ace who gets it, I'd be happy to send you a Jake Asman t-shirt, and you can do whatever you want with it. Curly writes in, Jets score 35 and the D gives up 37. If they give up 37 to Russell Wilson, that might be it for me as a fan of this team. I don't know if I can do the show anymore. That's it. I got to get a different job. Man. Seymour Cashman writes in, any relation to Seymour Wiener? Jets should win 7 straight games. Go Jets. I don't know. I don't know how we can say that right now. Based on what? Should have won the last 3 games. Tom Ace writes in, Jake Asman flamethrower is dropping in December ahead of the holiday season. You got it, Tom. Big fella, LT3 was the highest rated Jets defensive player. He should play more. He better play more. If we got to watch Michael Clemens play the most amount of snaps of any defensive lineman again this week, just burn this coaching staff to the ground. I can't do it. And I know they still have a good defense, and we've talked about the lack of really good defensive linemen they've had this year compared to others, but I can't deal with Clemens anymore, man. I can't. Brutal. ICFO says Rodgers will beat the Bills in Buffalo. I'll worry about that game when we get there. Last chance to get in, Bobby. I guess you're not calling in. All right. That's fine. That's fine, Bobby Midnight. You don't have to call in. Let me make sure to miss the super chat here. I have not. Also, just another reminder, RSVP to the watch party if you're coming. If you've never been to a Jake Asman watch party, let me give you an idea what it looks like, what it feels like, what it's all about.
The yellow line and the goal line. Hand off to Hall. Touchdown Jets. They're going to get a free play. Rodgers is the master at it, and a touchdown by Lazard.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. Free party. Bring the energy. We're going to need it. Here's what it sounds like after a Jet touchdown, which I pray to God we see at least 3 of them on Sunday. That's what 500 Asmaniacs looks like, by the way. Incredible. I don't know if we're getting that on Sunday night, but let's get close to it. Let's go. Wow, some breaking news. Bobby Midnight not calling in. No, not today, Jake. Sorry. Wow. This is stunning news. David writes in with a super chat. Too much talent on this team. I agree, but they've had the talent the last couple of games too, and it hasn't led to wins. Now, I am encouraged by Downing as the new play caller, how Brees played, how Garrett's played the last 2 games, adding Davante, duh. But I am nervous about the O-line against this Steelers front with TJ Watt. Just nervous about playing in Pittsburgh in general. They got to show us. They got to show us. Tom Ace writes in, Neil shuffles exclusively at T-squared. You ain't wrong, Tom. You ain't wrong. David with a super chat. We need our team to step up. Too much talent, and once this team starts rolling, it's over. Look, they are capable of going 8-3 and getting into the playoffs. I agree. Just got to do it, man. Show us. We want to believe. Believe me, we all want to believe. We want to believe. Alan says, my friend asked me to come to a Jake Asman watch party. I laughed. You know, it's funny. A friend of mine said, when are you going to send Alan to the hole? And I'm like, right now.
Now look what you've done, Alan. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give him another 24 hours to think about it.
Enjoy the hole, Alan. All right, one last call, then we got some Yankee baseball to watch. Hello, Phil. You're the final caller today. What do you got?
Oh, I love it. What's going on, Jake?
What's up, man?
Not much. Got that Jets Mets gear. You know, the colors matching. Let me let you know here. I'm in an underground facility here in New Jersey. We're testing how bricked up we're going to be for this upcoming game this weekend since we got Davante.
Let's go, baby.
We're testing bricks. Look at this. We're testing all forms of brick. How brick are we going to get? I mean, this is just this is nonsense. We're getting bricked up out here, bro.
Let's get bricked up.
I hope I could use a first career head coaching win for Jeff Ulbrich and Woody in the locker room giving him the game ball after the game on Sunday.
That's want that. We that's PG. It's PG rated here. It's full brick. But yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm at work here. I work for a concrete company, testing a bunch of shit out here. Yeah, I think we're gonna have a good weekend. I think a touchdown too. He's gonna spread it around. I think everyone's in the score. I'm call me crazy. I'm thinking they're going to air it out as much as they can. 28 to 17. 28-17 Jets. Calling now. Calling me crazy.
Is that because they don't even bother attempting any field goals, Phil?
Oh no, of course not. All extra points made by whoever's leg we can invent to kick. I mean, I don't know. Who was that? Morton? What was that guy? Morton? Who was that guy? Morton Anderson? That's what we need. He's a Morton Anderson in the building.
Phil, good luck at work, man. Great call. Please just win, man. They can win 2-0. They just need to win, man. Get a win. Get a win. That's the only thing that matters. We could talk about this or that, like 8-3 down the stretch, 9 wins, easiest schedule the rest of the way. Win a football game. That's it. Curtis Martin fan for life. I'm going to get bricked up tonight with my girlfriend, especially with the Mets win.
Hey, congrats on the sex.
I'll leave it at that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Thank you to Will Parkinson for coming on for the first hour of the show. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. I'm willing to guarantee there's 500 people watching live right now. Not all 505 of you are subscribers. So please subscribe to the channel by clicking the subscribe button. It's that easy. We just hit over 39,000. The next stop is 40. Let's go, baby. Thank you to all the Jet fans and the Asmaniacs, of course, for the support. See you guys on Sunday at the watch party. Reminder, this show's available in podcast form if you want it on either Apple or Spotify. Just search The Jake Asman Show wherever you get your podcasts, and you can find it there. My name is Jake Asman. This has been The Jake Asman Show. I end tonight's show with one simple message. Jets, 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 and let's go Yankees. Scott is up next on the hotline. What's up, Scott?
You look at the whole dynamics of it because it's very tough. I know, but you look at the thing and you look at the whole. What the fuck? Wow.
What do you mean?
What schematics? What element do we possess?
Scott, what are you asking though? I don't understand. Like,
Jake, I love you, dude. I respect you. It's fictitious crap. No. A ballerina knows how to move her hips and knows how to understand how to move her body.
You want the Jets to hire Shakira as their O-line coach so she can
No, I
teach
can't stand Shakira. No.
What do you mean?
No. Don't put words in my face. I like you, Jake. No. You have to have body fluids. You know, you look at these guys like we have this money. I've never been on steroids. I'm very muscular.
Scott, thank you. God, what? That was some call, man. I can't wait for the Gator remix of that one. That was an all-timer by Scott. Great line by Scott in that call. I don't do steroids, and I'm very muscular. Big takeaways. Scott wants to be the left tackle, and the Jets need to hire Shakira to teach the linemen that their hips don't lie. Or maybe Chubbs Peterson, right? It's all. All right, let's keep rolling. You want to talk about Hall of Fame level callers. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to our guy, Scott.
Hey, what's up? Great stuff. How the hell you be a swing tackle in the scheme of what you're doing? I mean, what the hell are you going to get? What do you say if I have this guy, we can have this guy? That's garbage. No. You can look at the whole dynamics of it, and it's tough and it's cool. But what the schematics that Jake? I love you. I respect you. It's fictitious crap. I mean, how? I mean, look at a ballerina, and a ballerina knows how to move her hips and knows how to move her body. And you know, you're laughing, but it's true, Jake. I love you. I respect you. But look, you don't put words in my face. I can show you how a ballerina, if you turn her body in a certain way, you can see how she moves. And it's just in the terms of the ballerina that just the way she spins in the dress, stay put, and it's just not how it's done. You know, look, I'm 48, dude. I take steroids and a very low dose of rodeo bull made from juices from injections, and I'm very muscular. I've got the muscles.
Oh my gosh.
And he's Mr. Magnificio. I just don't know how.
Oh my God. God damn it, Gator. He had the wig and everything. Oh my God.
If we don't get Tyrone Smith and shore up this goddamn offensive line, I'm done. This is bullshit. Everybody's praising Joe Douglas. I gotta tell you, I'm starting to get pissed. This is the difference between a winner and a goddamn loser. We're a bunch of losers. I'm tired of it. Tyrone Smith's sitting there. What does Joe Douglas say? Well, draw the line. I will give you $12 million. Wait, you're not going to pay the guy? What are you waiting for? Jesus Christ, I'm pissed. This Jet fan base is full of chickens. Who gives a shit about next year's draft? If you guys are not going to fly like eagles and throw some goddamn balls, get the hell off the chat and go hang out with Charles Gorman and his mother eating some chicken soup. I'm tired of this shit.
Our coaching staff stinks. The team is never prepared. They're undisciplined. They make a million mistakes. And the coaching staff is terrible. He doesn't know what he's doing. Hackett and him are like having two drug addicts on the sidelines. They're no good. And if Rodgers doesn't fix this, we're all going to kill ourselves. What happens after Rodgers? They have no plan for that. It's going to be 10 more years of being a shit.
We're back. All right, more of your calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, let's say hello to Robert C., who's next. Hello, Robert.
Hi, Jake. How are you?
What's up, Robert? Why do I hear an echo? Oh, God.
Hey, all you freaky-ass maniacs. Click the like button and send in your super chats. I'm going to take a shit on this couch.
Jets got to get things going next week. I mean, they play Pittsburgh and they play New England after that, and probably the week after New England's the bye week. They're going to play Miami twice in December. They've got the Texans. I think they're going to play Jacksonville again. I mean, you all have a good week.
Thank you very much, Robert C. God, that got me.
Here I come. Here I come.
Boom!
We're trying to change this whole attitude around here. You know, we're trying to build something special here. Get these fans to believe in us. They've been tortured for a long time, but it's great to be a Jet.